We're up to number 82 in that Best Picture Marathon. Best Picture Marathon theme song. Over the years, the Oscars have been increasingly criticized for not giving awards to popular movies. This was particularly pronounced during the 2008 season when many people felt that The Dark Knight should have been nominated for Best Picture, and it wasn't. In an effort to revitalize viewership, the Academy increased the number of Best Picture nominees from 5 to up to 10, starting with the 2009 season. This meant there was a possibility for a lot more variety in the Best Picture nominees, but it also meant the honor of being nominated had been somewhat watered down. Out of the many nominees for 2009, The Hurt Locker is the one that ended up winning Best Picture. After a film festival bidding war, the film was released theatrically by Summit Entertainment. It was written by journalist Mark Boal, who based the script on his experiences as an embedded journalist in the Iraq War, and the movie was directed by Kathryn Bigelow, who had previously directed films like Point Break and Strange Days. Set in 2004 during America's war with Iraq and at the peak of the Bush administration's so-called War on Terror, The Hurt Locker tells the story of a small elite bomb disposal unit in Iraq. It's an intense portrait of soldiers in very extreme circumstances, shot with multiple handheld cameras that lend a sense of verite-style authenticity to the feeling of the film, almost like watching a documentary. The film's thesis is that war is a drug, and that some of the participants become addicted to the adrenaline rush. And we see that primarily with the character played by Jeremy Renner, in his breakout role. His attitude and methods cause a lot of conflict with his teammates, played by Anthony Mackie and Brian Garrity, and the supporting cast includes folks like Guy Pearce, David Morse, Ray Fiennes, and Evangeline Lilly. For the sake of realism, Bigelow chose to shoot the film in Jordan, just a few miles away from the border with Iraq, where actual combat was happening. It was apparently a pretty miserable shoot, with temperatures up to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, with many cast and crew members suffering through illness and or injury. The film received outstanding reviews when it first came out and was on many critics' top 10 lists for the year. There was a lot of praise for the film's sense of realism, as well as for the performances, Barry Ackroyd's cinematography, and just the intensity of the story. Although there was also some criticism of the depiction of military procedure in the movie. The Hurt Locker is the lowest grossing movie to ever win Best Picture, but because it was shot for such a low budget, it was actually very profitable. It won 6 Oscars and oh man, my power just went out. It won 6 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Screenplay, and Best Director, making Kathryn Bigelow the first woman to ever win that honor. Of course, a lot of people expected the top awards that year to go to Avatar, which was directed by James Cameron, Kathryn Bigelow's ex-husband. But Cameron didn't win Best Picture or Director that year. Maybe the Oscar statuette was made of unobtainium. I remember when I first saw The Hurt Locker in the theater, I thought it was such an intense masterpiece, and I'll admit I was delighted when it beat Avatar. But then I haven't really thought about the movie much since then. Watching it again now, it's lost a little bit of its impact for me. The story meanders and is a little repetitive, probably longer than it needs to be, but I still think it's a pretty solid movie. It wouldn't necessarily be my pick for Best Picture. I would have been more inclined to give it to something like Inglourious Basterds, or A Serious Man, or even Up. Well, hopefully my power will be back on before I do the next video for The King's Speech. See you then.